We all know that in the busyness of daily life, it can be easy for days, weeks, months, and even full years to fly by without spending more time doing the things that we want to be doing. Rather than letting another year go by without doing the things that you said you're going to do, let's look at a really simple way to organize your life using a pocket-sized planner. What's up? My name is Eric. I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and I enjoy creating videos that help you to create better content for your brand or business using writing and video. If you want to learn more about my planning methods for weekly, monthly, and quarterly goals, you might be interested in my brand new course called The Genius Journal. If you're interested in more information or would like to enroll, I will include a link down below in the description. First of all, the planner that I have been using the past few years is the Moleskine Pocket Planner. It's a very simple hardcover planner. It's obviously pocket sized, so it's nice and small. And I use the weekly horizontal version of the layout. It's super easy to understand. I really enjoy how much space you're given for each day, and I don't really ever feel that I run out of space. It's really straightforward. There's no extra fluff, and that is what I enjoy about it. So to kick this off, it's important to highlight the fact that if you want to spend your life in an intentional way, it's important that you plan out your days. I never used to be a fan of schedules or routines. I used to just fly by the seat of my pants, but I've recently found how important it is to plan out your life, to plan out your days, and to live according to those plans so that you're able to spend your time doing the things that you want to be doing. And the first step to that entire process is to make time to do the things that you want to do. Ran out of battery in my audio recorder. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Let's be honest, routines suck when you're simply just following something that somebody else is expecting you to do. But when you purposely plan out each of the things that you're doing each day, or at least some of the things that you're doing in a day, it makes that routine much more enjoyable because you're doing the things that are important to you. The first step to this process is to simply write out 3 to 5 top priority items for you in the new year. That's if you're watching this video in December or January, but you can really do this at any time throughout the year. Think about this question. What things do you want to be intentional about focusing on in the coming year? Just for a few examples, this could be health, relationships, business, family, learning/skills, travel, whatever it might be. Write down the things that are most important to you this year. In my opinion, this is the most important step because you need to have a goal to look forward to. If you don't have that goal to work towards, you're not going to have the daily actions that you need to give you purpose. The first step is knowing what you want. Once you have your top 3 or so priorities chosen, it's time to find a way to work them into your weekly schedule. For the example in this video, let's say your top priorities are going to be health, relationships, and learning. The second question to consider is, what kind of activities allow you to improve in each of these categories? So let's start with health. Let's say you want to go to the gym 3 times per week. One way to do this is to choose 3 specific days that you want to go to the gym. So let's say you want to go on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can write gym with a little checkbox next to it on each of those days, or in my opinion, a better way to do this is to write down in the, say, top left or right corner, gym 3 times with a checkbox next to it, and that way you can choose whichever days are going to work best for you in that specific week. Because one thing I've learned when using this method is that the days that you choose for a specific task might not end up working out that way just because of the busyness of everyday life. So it's easier to go to the gym 3 times per week than it is to go to the gym on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. When you give yourself more of a generic, numeric goal, it just makes it a little bit easier to hit those tasks. So if you write down in the top left corner, gym 3 times, you can check off the box each time that you go to the gym that week. Now let's move on to relationships. In order to improve your relationships and to meet new people, let's say your goal is to meet with someone new 1 time every week. Now that we have that task set, that is something that we can add to our calendar. Again, you can choose a specific day that you want to plan to meet with somebody, but when you're coordinating with someone else's schedule, I'm sure that's always going to be changing. So you can again write in the top left or right, meet with a new friend with a checkbox next to it. And finally, let's move on to the third thing, which is learning. In my opinion, learning should be a top priority for anyone at any stage of their life because it is just a super important thing to always be giving yourself new information, trying new things, starting new projects, and just expanding what you're capable of doing. A question to consider here would be, how can you add learning to your weekly schedule? My personal favorite way to do this is to add a 30 to 60 minute time block throughout the day to learn something new. Depending on how busy you are or how serious you are about learning this new thing, this could be added 1 time per week to your schedule or even 7 times per week. But the important thing to remember for this one is to add it to the schedule, otherwise it's not going to happen. Another way to add learning to your schedule for the new year is to pair learning something new with a task that you're already doing. For example, maybe when you're at the gym 3 times per week, you can turn on an educational podcast and listen to that while you're working out. Or maybe you enjoy going for outdoor walks and you can listen to an audiobook or a lecture during those walks. And finally, if you're working on a new project, you can use the new things that you're learning in an experiment for your new project. Because learning is all about actually using the things that you're learning, just listening to a podcast isn't going to get you very far. You need to apply the things that you're learning from the podcast to an actual real world project, and that is how you're going to actually learn. Whew. If you want to be more intentional with your time, I would recommend giving this simple planner method a try. Because if you don't make time for the things that matter to you, you might just go a whole nother year without making the improvements that you've been wanting to make. Write it down in the planner, add it to your schedule each week, and those things will begin getting done. If you want to learn more about my planning methods for weekly, monthly, and quarterly goals, you might be interested in my brand new course called The Genius Journal. This course includes my entire creative workflow, from journaling methods to capturing your best ideas, and then writing frameworks and journal prompts to expand upon those ideas that you have. If you're interested in more information or would like to enroll, I will include a link down below in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. My name is Eric. Peace out.